Ayo, Plowman here. So, as we know, it's been 20 days since Charlie Kirk was murdered, assassinated, killed. The simple fact is that Charlie Kirk died. And I feel like everyone knows who Charlie Kirk is by this point, and there's really nothing to add. But what I find fascinating is a couple things. You have people who are saying that he deserved it, that he asked for it, that he is a product of his own verbiage, his own ideology. And I find that fascinating because he was killed by a gun, and he said, and if you watch the whole video, he wasn't advocating murder. He was saying that, hey, the right to have your guns and defend yourself supersedes that some people utilize guns in a bad way. And we have to realize that throughout human history, people have been killing other people. Like, this is just a common thing. It doesn't matter. It's not a white thing. It's not a race thing. It's not a religion thing. It's just throughout human history, this is a thing that has happened. Just full stop, it has happened. Now, I've been delving into some of people who are trying to find out who did this, why did they do it, yada, yada, yada. And I consider myself a conspiracy theorist. I have a permanent tinfoil hat on. In regards to the moon landing, I was of the mind of like, oh, yeah, you know what? I'll take that off. Like, we landed on the moon. And I'm starting to find stuff that's like, I don't know if we did. Which opens up a whole bag of worms. And it's like the lightest bag of worms in the world. But it's like, oh, wow, if we didn't land on the moon, then why didn't Russia say that? That's so weird. Like, how? But the point is I feel like everyone should universally agree when someone dies, especially someone of note, and if they're a good person objectively. And this is the thing, is like, if you look at his content, Charlie Kirk's content, I feel like you can cherry pick certain things and be like, I disagree with this. And that's totally okay, and you should do that. But him as a person and what he was standing for should, like, you should look at the whole thing and like, okay, the fact that you look at 10 shorts and you pick 2 out of 10, it's like, okay, so by your own metric, he was 80% a good person. And I feel like there's this idea where you can post on social media about a thing and be like, yeah, brr. And it's like, okay, would you say that in person? Would you say that to a person that you know? Whether it's your loved one or whether it's a person at the grocery store. Like, would you say that? Probably not. And it's like, it's okay. We have Twitter for a reason, Facebook for a reason. You post your thoughts. Hey, blah, blah, blah. I understand. And you can keyboard warrior and like say your stuff, and that's totally okay. But understand that, like, in a weird way, as much as we've gone like this as a society, we are starting to get more and more like this as a society. And so to the extent that you keep hammering in this, like, I'm going to say things and nothing's going to matter because I can just say whatever I want to say and it doesn't really matter. Just understand, just so you're forewarned, that as technology progresses, anonymity on the internet will be non-existent for the general populace. Like, you'll have to do extensive things to be anonymous online. So you post stuff, and there's real-time evidence of this. People who were not anonymous, they would say things. Destiny, on the left, he's been saying lots of things. And we're seeing his little tiny empire crumble because it's not that what he's saying is bad, because that's, you're welcome to, in America, mind you, I live in America. In America, you're allowed to speak your mind. That isn't the issue. The issue is when you start speaking your mind and it sounds like you're calling for violence. That's problematic. And Destiny has been allowed to like say very volatile things, and now he's basically openly being like, oh yeah, no, he should have done bad things. And all this is to really illustrate a point which kind of goes back to home and hearth of, hey, should you be saying this stuff? Should you be communicating this stuff? And I'm personally running into this right now with my mother-in-law. She's not political as far as I understand. I mean, I've been with her daughter for 8 years, and I didn't really, like, a little bit of politics, but not really. And I was told kind of explicitly when we first started dating to not get into it with her parents because they're on the opposite spectrum of me. That's okay. And so I respected that. I was like, cool, I'm not going to bring up this thing because, you know, in polite society, there's 3 things. It's religion, it's politics, and I forget what the third one is. But at least those 2, you're not supposed to bring up in like a polite conversation. So I respected that. But what's interesting is that then you have this lady and she's posting on Facebook, and I happen to be friends with her on Facebook. Obviously, she's my mother-in-law. And it's like, oh, okay. So wait, are we allowed to talk about this now? I don't know. And like, I'm trying to be polite. And as a separate thing, I'm having a debate argument with a person who, in my opinion, has Trump derangement syndrome. Like he hates Trump with a passion, full bore, can't excuse anything. Everything he does is wrong. And like, what's frustrating to me is I'm like, look, dude, yeah, you're right on some things. I can agree on some things. I don't like everything Trump does. But when you go into this netherworld of stuff and things, it's like, okay, hold on. What was your thoughts about when Biden did something the same way or worse, or Obama or Bush or Clinton? Like, did you have anything to say about that? Or is it just because Trump is doing it right now? And so this is something that I find interesting on the whole. And it involves Charlie Kirk's death, right? Because he died via a gun, being assassinated. And it involves gun rights, and it involves politics, and it involves all this stuff, which is like, look, it's okay that we disagree, okay? Please do. The world improves to the extent that we disagree and talk about our disagreement and grow from it and learn from our disagreement, right? The world is improved by that. What is not improved is when you disagree and you're unwilling to listen to the other person. And I know that I have personally failed. Not often, I would say, but certainly enough for me to note it and be like, no, I failed to listen to other people. I am a man. I want to say that as a joke. I don't know what the punchline is. I'm a man. We don't do listening too well. Listen to which option at the restaurant maybe. I'll tell you I want that special instead of the other one. But outside of that, we don't listen to much. So, joking aside, I am trying to listen better and aspire to be an even better listener. But aside from listening, you need to have a willingness to understand the other person's perspective, deconstruct, and be like, okay, I got that, but here's why you're missing data, okay? And if we can't do that, if we refuse, if we refuse to do that as human beings, we will drastically suffer. And that's kind of the point, is like we will drastically suffer as human beings if we don't start having conversations. And I'll round this up. Simply put, so look, if you don't like the way things are in America, you can, there's a lot of avenues to change things. And if you're really like, America's just the worst thing ever, there is a whole world with a lot of other countries that you can go and live in. It is allowed. Like, you, free transport, like, not free transport, but you're free to leave, right? Like, if you're just like, oh, it's the worst here, and like, okay, in comparison to what? But go ahead. If you find another place that's better, please go there. And I actually have a cousin who I think went to Norway. I want to say Norway. Whatever. One of Norway, Sweden, Switzerland. And I don't talk to him at all. I don't know where he went. I hope I wish him the best. That's fine. And he literally left because he didn't like the politics. He's like, no, I'm done with America. I'm gonna go over there. And it's like, cool, knock out, okay, good for you. And that's fine. But you gotta you gotta be willing to talk to people. And really, if you don't know, it's okay to say things, even if you don't know. You're allowed. You have freedom of speech. However, it becomes a bit interesting when it's like, okay, hold on, explain your thing. Like, it's one thing to just share a meme or share a picture and you're like, yeah, this makes sense to me. It's like, okay, but you didn't do any research about this at all. Do you know? And then you're like, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, okay, you shared a picture. Like, you need to be able to defend it. And I feel like we need to kind of get back to and really come to terms with being willing to converse and talk about a subject and agree to disagree in person, because it's easy to do online. You can just block the person and not respond. I have a message of a person I need to respond to. They sent it to me like 3 days ago and I feel bad they didn't respond. I wrote a whole response out and I was like, this is just me being angry. So I still need to respond to that person. But my point in all this is like, hey, love the people close to you. I'm going to do a dad video in a minute. But like, love the people close to you. And we all want what's best for ourselves and our family and the future. So if we can figure out how to do that, that's what works. Okay? That's it. Plebman out.